Ladies, I know some of us have been there. You've met a man who seems perfect, right? You're feeling the butterflies, the connection, and you think to yourself, this is it. But then you start chasing him. You text more, you call more, you try to get his attention in every way possible, and then nothing. And you wonder, why doesn't he see what I see? Self-worth is the foundation of everything. Without it, you are like a house built on sand, fragile, easily swayed, and unstable. But when you build your life on a strong foundation of self-love and self-respect, you are invincible. You become a force that no one can ignore. Think about this for a second. Why would you ever chase someone who doesn't recognize your value? Why would you let your happiness and peace of mind depend on someone else's approval? The truth is you shouldn't. Let me share a story with you. I remember a time when I was younger, just starting out in life. I had this idea in my head that I needed a man to feel complete. I thought if I could just find the right guy, everything else would fall into place. I gave so much of myself to relationships, thinking that if I gave enough, he would see how wonderful I was and he would love me the way I wanted to be loved. But you know what happened? The more I gave, the less I got in return. And eventually I found myself feeling empty, drained, and worse, doubting my own worth. I'm not alone in this, and I know many of you have been there too. We've all had moments where we believed our value was tied to someone else's perception of us. But here's the truth that hit me like a ton of bricks. You are valuable whether anyone recognizes it or not. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It's not something you can barter or trade away for a little affection or validation. Your worth is something that belongs to you and only you. Let me tell you a little secret. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. If you walk around thinking you're not enough, if you constantly seek validation from others, guess what? That's exactly what you'll get. But when you stand tall, when you hold your head high, when you know without a doubt that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, people will feel that energy. They'll either rise to meet you at your level or fall away, and you'll be just fine either way. Take a look at the women who seem to have it all together. They aren't chasing after anyone. They don't have to. They attract people because they radiate confidence and self-love. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real, about owning your story and embracing your flaws as part of what makes you you. There's power in vulnerability, power in saying, this is who I am, take it or leave it. I want you to think about a moment in your life when you felt truly empowered. Maybe it was when you accomplished something on your own, like landing that big job, finishing a project, or simply surviving a tough time and coming out stronger on the other side. In those moments, you felt unstoppable, right? That's because you were relying on yourself, your strength, your abilities, your belief in who you are. No one else's opinion mattered in those moments. You didn't need anyone to tell you you were worth something. You knew it yourself. But what happens when you start chasing someone else's attention or approval? You stop trusting yourself. You put your happiness in the hands of someone who may or may not even appreciate it. And let me tell you, that's not the way to live. When you're constantly seeking outside validation, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. It's like building a house on a weak foundation. It might look good for a while, but sooner or later it's gonna crumble. Here's another thing. When you know your worth, you set standards, you set boundaries. You don't let anyone walk all over you, and you don't tolerate being treated poorly. People respect you when you respect yourself. I've seen so many women put up with disrespect and bad behavior just because they were afraid of being alone or didn't believe they deserved better. But let me tell you, staying in situations that make you feel small or unimportant is not the way to get what you want out of life. Think about a job interview. If you go into that room with confidence, knowing your skills, knowing what you bring to the table, and being ready to negotiate your worth, you're more likely to get the offer. The same goes for relationships. If you walk into a relationship knowing that you are a prize, you won't settle for anything less than what you deserve. And if someone isn't willing to meet you at your level, that's okay, you move on. There's a reason why we say don't chase him, because when you're chasing, you're telling the universe that you believe you're incomplete without him. You're saying that you're not enough on your own. But guess what? You are enough. You were born in. And when you start to believe that, when you start to own that truth, that's when everything changes. Look at the women who have the most fulfilling relationships. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't lose themselves in someone else. They are whole, complete, and confident on their own. And the right man will see that and want to add to it. He will be drawn to your strength, your independence, your self-love. That's the kind of relationship that lasts, not one where you're constantly proving your worth. And finally, let's not forget this. Your self-worth is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. If you can't love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? If you can't see the beauty in your own soul, how can you expect someone else to recognize? Your relationship with yourself is the most important one you will ever have. It's the one you carry with you every single day, no matter where you go. So why not make it a loving, nurturing, empowering relationship? The more you invest in your own happiness, in your own growth, in your own self-respect, the more the world will mirror that back to you. You will attract the love, the respect, and the relationships you truly deserve, because you will have first given all of that to yourself. And when you do that, my friend, the world will open up to you in ways you never imagined. You will become unstoppable. Men are drawn to challenge, not pursuit. Let that sink in for a moment. The idea that a man wants to be pursued is a myth. The truth is, men don't want things handed to them on a silver platter, especially when it comes to relationships. They want to earn it. They want to chase. They want to feel like they've won something worthwhile, something valuable. And if you give that away too easily, they won't value it. So if you've been chasing a man wondering why he's not responding the way you expect, it's because you're missing the key element that keeps a man intrigued. Challenge. Think about this. Have you ever watched someone struggle to get something they really want? Maybe it was a job, a promotion, or even a personal goal. The more they had to work for it, the more rewarding it became, right? It's human nature. We don't appreciate things we don't have to work for. And men are no different. They want to feel like they've earned your time, your attention, your affection. When you give it to them too easily, you take away the satisfaction of the chase. And without the chase, they lose interest. Let's take a look at real life for a sec. Think about the moments in your life when you've gotten something because you had to work for it. Maybe it was a job you really wanted, or maybe it was a goal you set for yourself. You didn't just walk into that opportunity without putting in the effort, did you? You worked, you invested your time, your energy, your heart. And when you achieved it, didn't it feel so much better because you earned it? Men operate the same way. When they see a woman who has her life together, who is independent, who is not desperate for their attention, they can't help but be drawn to her. They want to be the one who wins her over. But here's the catch. They can't win her over if she's already given it to them for free. You've got to let him earn it. You've got to create that element of challenge. Imagine this scenario. You meet a man and from day one you're all over him. You text him first, you make the first move. You initiate the conversation, you're always available. But here's the thing. You're not letting him do any of the work. You've removed the challenge from the equation. The result? He might feel flattered for a moment, but he doesn't feel motivated to pursue you. Why? Because you've already given him everything he wanted without him lifting a finger. There's no sense of achievement for him. And after a while the interest fades. Now flip that scenario around. You meet a man and you're interested, but you're not constantly available. You're not texting him first every time. You're busy with your own life, your job, your friends, your passions. You engage with him when it feels right, but you don't make him your whole world. He sees that you're not waiting around for him. And that, my friends, is when the magic happens. He will want to chase you. He will want to know you. And he'll respect you more because you've made him work for your time and attention. You've given him the challenge he needs. Here's something you need to understand. When you chase, you put yourself in a position where you are constantly giving without receiving. You're always showing up first. You're always making yourself available. And you're doing all the work. But in relationships, it has to be a mutual exchange. If one person is always doing the chasing, the other person will eventually lose interest. It's that simple. Men want a woman who makes them feel like they have to earn her. And when they earn her respect, her affection, her time, they'll treasure it because they know what it took to get it. Let's think about this in the context of a career. Have you ever worked on a project that required intense effort and dedication? Did it feel different when you finally achieved success in that area? Of course it did. That's because you invested in it. You didn't sit back and wait for it to come to you. You put in the work, the sweat, the tears, and the late nights. And that's exactly what makes the reward feel so sweet. It's the same principle when it comes to relationships. A man who has to work for a woman's attention feels a deeper sense of satisfaction when he gets it. But if you hand it to him on a silver platter, you remove the challenge. And without challenge, there's no growth. Without growth, there's no excitement. This doesn't mean you should play games or manipulate someone into pursuing you. That's not what we're talking about. What it means is that you should have a sense of self-worth, independence, and confidence. When you carry yourself in that way, men will naturally be drawn to you because they see a woman who is worth the chase. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to be constantly available. You don't have to give away your time and energy for free. When you value yourself, others will value you too. The most powerful women I know are the ones who don't need a man to feel whole. They are focused on their own goals, their own passions, their own happiness. And when they meet someone they're interested in, they don't make it their mission to chase that man down. They're living their lives, and if he wants to join them on their journey, he has to earn his place. That's when the attraction grows, and that's when a man will do whatever it takes to keep her in his life. So the next time you find yourself chasing someone, take a step back and ask yourself, am I making this too easy for him? Am I taking away the challenge he needs to stay interested? Remember, men are drawn to challenge, not pursuit. When you stop chasing and start letting him earn your attention, that's when he'll truly appreciate you. That's when the real magic begins. Respect for yourself creates respect from him. Now I know it sounds simple, but let me tell you, this is the game changer in relationships. If you don't respect yourself, you're essentially telling the world it's okay to walk all over you. It's like opening the door to your heart and saying, come in and do whatever you want. But here's the cold hard truth. The way you treat yourself is a mirror to how others will treat you. If you set the bar low for yourself, don't be surprised when others follow suit. Think about this for a second. Have you ever been in a situation where you let someone walk all over you? Maybe it was a friend who took advantage of your kindness, or a guy who didn't treat you the way you deserved. And in those moments, what did you feel? Disrespected, unappreciated. I can tell you, I've been there too. We've all been there at some point. You think, I'm giving my all. Why isn't he giving me what I need in return? The answer, my friends, is simple. It's because you haven't given him the foundation of respect that is necessary for any healthy relationship to grow. Let me share an example with you. Imagine a woman who constantly bends over backwards to make others happy, whether it's her friends, her family, or the guy she's dating. She drops everything to accommodate others. She cancels her own plans to please someone else, and she's always available when they need her. But here's the thing, she's not respecting her own time or boundaries. And because of that, the people in her life begin to take her for granted. They don't value her time because deep down they know she'll always be there when they call. But let's switch it up. Picture this, a woman who knows her worth. She's confident, she has boundaries, and she doesn't compromise her values for anyone. She takes care of herself physically, mentally, and emotionally. When someone disrespects her, she doesn't hesitate to set them straight. She values her time and energy, and she doesn't give it away freely to anyone who doesn't earn it. Now when a man sees her, he recognizes that she has a standard. He knows he has to step up if he wants her in his life. Why? Because she commands respect simply by respecting herself. And here's where it gets powerful. Respect is contagious. When you respect yourself, it sends a clear message to everyone around you that you won't tolerate anything less than the best. People will start to see you as someone who cannot be taken for granted, someone who commands attention because of her strength, integrity, and self-worth. When a man sees that in you, he knows that he has to give as much as you do, because you will never settle for less. But let's be honest, respecting yourself doesn't always come naturally. We live in a world where society often teaches us to put others first, to always be available, to constantly give and give without expecting anything in return. We're told that being selfless is the highest form of virtue. But here's the reality. Being selfless is not the same as being respectful of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving to others and neglecting your own needs, eventually you will run dry, and all you'll be left with is frustration and resentment. Think about the most successful and respected people you know, whether it's in your personal life, in the workplace, or in the media. These are people who know how to say no when they need to. People who understand their value and are unapologetic about it. They don't overextend themselves for others. They don't let people take advantage of their kindness. And as a result, they attract people who value and respect them. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. Take, for example, a woman who's building her career. She knows that her time is precious, so she doesn't waste it on people or projects that don't align with her goals. She sets boundaries with colleagues, clients, and even friends. She doesn't feel guilty about prioritizing herself. And because of that, people start respecting her time. They see that she values herself, so they start valuing her too. The same applies to relationships. When a man sees a woman who is confident, self-sufficient, and clear about what she wants, He is drawn to her. He knows she won't settle for anything less than she deserves, and that's something men find incredibly attractive. Now, let's dive into the other side of this. What happens when you don't respect yourself? When you allow someone to treat you poorly or you don't set boundaries? You're essentially telling that person, I'm not worth the effort. And if you don't respect yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? It's like trying to get someone to appreciate a book that you haven't even opened yourself. If you're constantly letting people walk over you, they won't hesitate to keep doing it because they know they can. And that's where things get toxic. The more you give without receiving, the more drained you feel. And the more drained you feel, the less you respect yourself. It becomes a cycle that keeps you stuck in unhealthy relationships. But when you set clear boundaries, when you value your time, your emotions, and your needs, something beautiful happens. You start to attract people who respect you. The right people, the ones who understand your worth, will show up, and those who don't will fall away. It's not about being harsh or cold. It's about knowing that you are enough as you are, and you won't settle for less than you deserve. Respect for yourself is about making the conscious decision to honor your needs, your desires, and your worth. It's about saying no when you need to, taking time for yourself when necessary, and always knowing that you are enough. When you do that, you send a powerful message to the universe and to the people around you that you deserve nothing less than the best. And when you demand respect from yourself, it's only a matter of time before others begin to do the same. Let him come to you, but stay open. Let that sink in. I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? In a world where we're often told to go after what we want, to chase after dreams, love, and success, the idea of sitting back and allowing things to unfold might seem like you're doing nothing. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful positions you can take when it comes to love and relationships. Let's break it down. Imagine you're in a situation where you've met someone new. They're interesting, you feel a spark, but you can't help but feel that urge to reach out. You think, I need to text him first, I need to call, I need to let him know I'm interested. But here's the catch. The moment you start chasing, you've already given up your power. You've already put yourself in a position where you're seeking validation. You've stopped being in control of the situation, and you've put all of the pressure on yourself. Now think of the opposite. Imagine you're still interested in him, but instead of texting him every second, instead of wondering where he is or why he's not responding immediately, you focus on yourself. You allow him to reach out to you. Keep living your life thriving, pursuing your passions, making memories with friends, working on your goals. And the best part, you're still open to him. You're still allowing space for him to enter your life, but you're not dependent on his actions for your happiness. The shift is powerful. You are no longer waiting for someone else to complete you. Instead, you are letting the right person come to you naturally, at the right time. This concept isn't about playing games or pretending not to care. It's about balance and confidence. When you're in a place where you know your worth, you understand that love and respect cannot be rushed. If someone is truly interested in you, they will show it. They will pursue you. And if they don't, then you're not wasting your time chasing after someone who doesn't value what you bring to the table. Let me give you an example. I remember a time when I was dating a guy who seemed perfect on paper. He was charming, funny, good-looking, and seemed to check all the boxes. But I noticed something that started to bother me. He wasn't really putting in the effort. He'd text me occasionally, but the communication was one-sided. I found myself constantly wondering if I should reach out more, if I should text him first or make plans. But then I realized something. By constantly being the one to initiate contact, I was diminishing my own value. I was placing the burden of responsibility on myself, and that's when I decided to change my approach. Instead of texting him every time I felt the urge, I decided to take a step back. I focused on myself. I worked on my passions, spent time with my friends, and immersed myself in my own life. And do you know what happened? When I stopped chasing and allowed him the space to come to me, the dynamics completely shifted. He started texting me more, making more of an effort, and showing interest. But the most important thing I learned was that when I stopped chasing, I reclaimed my power. I realized that I didn't have to beg for his attention. I didn't have to prove my worth. When you stop chasing, you give the other person the opportunity to show you they care in a way that feels natural. And when it happens this way, it's genuine, it's real. Now, I'm not saying you should be cold or distant or play hard to get just for the sake of it. That's not the point. The key is to remain open, to let someone see your light, to let them be drawn to your energy without forcing the connection. Stay open to love, to connection, to the possibility of a relationship. But don't sit by idly waiting for someone to take the first. You have to be confident enough to let things unfold on their own. It's about giving him the space to pursue you, but only if he's truly interested in doing so. When you let him come to you, you create an environment where the relationship can thrive naturally. There's no pressure, no force. If he's the right one, he'll want to meet you halfway. He'll want to put in the effort to get to know you, to show you he cares. And if he's not, well, at least you didn't waste your energy chasing after someone who wasn't willing to put in the work. But here's the most important part. Staying open doesn't mean staying passive. It doesn't mean you have to sit around waiting for a man to complete you. It means that you are open to the possibility of love, but you're also focused on building your own life. You're not dependent on him for your happiness or your self-worth. You already have that. You're simply allowing space for someone to enter your life and add to it, not complete it. Think about it. Have you ever been attracted to someone who was completely confident in who they were? Someone who wasn't needy, desperate, or constantly seeking your validation? That's the person you were drawn to, right? That's the person you wanted to pursue. Now flip that around. If you want someone to pursue you, you have to show them that you're that person. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, confident in your own life, and secure in your own worth. And guess what? When you embody that energy, men will naturally gravitate toward you. They'll want to pursue you because they'll see that you're not desperate for their attention, that you're not available at their beck and call. They'll see you as someone who has a full life, someone who is worth pursuing, not someone who is just waiting for their text or their call. The man who truly values you will not hesitate to step up and show you that he is worthy of your time. Let him come to you, but stay open. Stay open to the possibilities, stay open to the connection. And most importantly, stay open to the idea that the right person will recognize your worth and pursue you in the way you deserve. You don't need to chase, you just need to be you, whole, confident, and ready for what life has to offer. And when you do that, you'll attract the person who will be grateful that they had to work to win your heart. Because let's face it, anything worth having is worth the effort. Focus on your own life, not just him. Let that sink in. So often we get caught up in the idea that our happiness, our fulfillment, and even our identity are tied to someone else. We start living for them. We revolve our world around them. We stop prioritizing our own growth and our own goals, simply because we're too focused on them. But here's the truth. No one else can fulfill the deepest parts of you unless you are whole and complete on your own. You are the center of your own life, and if you forget that, you risk losing yourself in the process. Let me tell you something powerful. When you focus solely on someone else, when you make them the focal point of your existence, you are no longer in control of your own narrative. Your life becomes an extension of theirs. You begin to wait for their approval, their affection, their attention. You stop living for yourself and start living for someone else's validation. And this, my friends, is a dangerous place to be. Because when you start living for someone else, you sacrifice your own needs, your own dreams, and your own growth. Let's take a moment to think about this in a real-life scenario. Picture yourself in a relationship. At first, everything feels exciting. The butterflies, the constant texting, the late-night conversations, everything feels new and thrilling. But over time, you start to notice that you're thinking about them more than you're thinking about yourself. You find yourself rearranging your schedule just to accommodate their plans. You cancel your own activities, your own passions, just to make time for them. Slowly your world begins to shrink. You stop going to the gym, you stop hanging out with your friends, and you stop focusing on your career. You're too busy making sure they're happy. But here's the reality check. When you neglect your own life to focus solely on someone else, you lose the very essence of what makes you you. Let's flip the script. Now imagine you're still in that relationship,
But this time you've made a conscious decision to live for yourself as well. You still care deeply about him, but you also make time for your own passions, your own hobbies, and your own personal growth. You go to the gym because it makes you feel good, not because you want to impress it. You go out with your friends because they uplift you, not because you want to fill the void. You focus on your career because you want to build your own future, not because you're waiting for someone else to do it for you. And guess what happens? Not only do you feel more fulfilled, but you also become more attractive to him. Why? Because when you focus on your own life, you naturally exude confidence. You don't need his approval to feel good about yourself, and that independence is incredibly magnetic. Let's take it even further. You've probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, this is exactly what happens when you neglect your own life in favor of someone else's. You deplete yourself, you forget who you are, and you lose sight of your own. You stop prioritizing the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. And in doing so, you put yourself in a position where you feel unappreciated, drained, and frustrated. When you stop living for yourself and start living for someone else, you lose the energy, the drive, and the passion that made you who you are. But when you focus on your own life, when you put yourself first in a healthy, balanced way, you begin to feel energized, confident, and empowered. You become the best version of yourself, not because of someone else, but because you are taking care of your own needs. And that energy, that vibrancy, becomes contagious. When you're happy and fulfilled on your own, you become more attractive to others, not because you're trying to be, but because your happiness shines through in everything you do. Take a moment to reflect on the people you're most drawn to. Who are they? Are they people who have their own lives, their own passions, their own goals? Or are they people who constantly seek validation and approval from others? We're naturally attracted to people who are confident, self-sufficient, and who have a sense of purpose in their lives. And you know what? The same applies to men. When a man sees a woman who is busy living her life, who has goals, who is passionate, who is happy with herself, he is drawn to her. He wants to be part of her life, not because she needs him, but because he wants to add value to it. Think about this from the perspective of personal growth. When you focus on your own life, you give yourself the space to evolve. You invest time in your career, your health, your emotional well-being, and your personal development. You become the person you're meant to be. And when you're the best version of yourself, you attract people who are on the same level. You stop attracting people who drain your energy or make you feel like you're not enough. Instead, you attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not who you pretend to be. Here's a powerful example of focusing on your own life. Think about a woman who's working toward a major career goal. She's ambitious, driven, and passionate about her work. She spends her time building her skills, growing her network, and setting herself up for success. One day, she meets a man who is equally passionate about his career. Instead of sitting back and waiting for him to make all the moves, she continues to focus on her goals, her personal growth, and her happiness. She doesn't put her life on hold for him. And guess what happened? The man respects her for her drive and independence. He is drawn to her not because she's waiting around for him, but because she's living her own life with purpose and intention. And in turn, he wants to be a part of that life, not to complete it, but to add value to it. Focusing on your own life doesn't mean shutting yourself off from others. It doesn't mean you can't have a relationship or share your life with someone. It simply means that you don't rely on anyone else to make you feel whole. You create your own happiness, your own fulfillment, and your own success. When you do this, you become a magnet for the right people. You stop attracting people who need you to fix them, and you start attracting people who want to build with you. So the next time you find yourself overly focused on someone else, take a step back. Ask yourself, am I prioritizing my own life? Am I living for myself? Or am I waiting for someone else to make me feel complete? The answer lies in you. When you focus on your own life, you'll find that everything else, relationships, love, success, falls into place naturally. Because when you're the best version of yourself, you naturally attract the best people into your life. The right man will pursue you. I want you to really think about this for a second. The right man, not just any man, not the man who feels like a temporary fix, not the man who you have to beg for attention or force to see your worth. The right man will pursue you because he will see you for who you truly are. He will see your value, your beauty, your strength, and he won't hesitate to make sure you know it. Now, in a world where we're constantly told to go after what we want, It can be hard to grasp this concept. We're taught to chase after our goals, to put ourselves out there to make things happen. But when it comes to love, there's something beautiful and empowering about stepping back and allowing the right person to come to you. And I'm not talking about playing hard to get. I'm talking about having the confidence and belief in yourself that you don't need to chase after anyone. You don't need to convince someone to love you. You don't need to settle for someone who doesn't value you. When you are aligned with your own worth, the right man will naturally step up to pursue you. Let me give you a real-life example. There's a woman I know who's been in a few relationships, but none of them felt right. In each of those relationships, she was the one putting in all the effort. She was the one calling first, texting first, planning dates, making sure everything was in place. She was constantly trying to show them how much she cared, how much she was willing to give. But no matter how much she gave, it was never enough. She felt like she was always the one chasing, always the one making the effort. And after every relationship, she was left feeling drained, unappreciated and frustrated. One day, after another failed attempt at chasing love, she decided to change her approach. She took a step back. She focused on herself, her career, her passions, her friends, her self-worth. She stopped chasing after men. She stopped texting first, making all the plans, and seeking validation from others. Instead, she made a commitment to herself that she would only invest in relationships where the man was willing to pursue her, to meet her halfway, and to show that he valued her. Do you know what happened? The right man came into her life. She wasn't looking for him. She wasn't forcing anything to happen. He pursued her. He recognized her worth and didn't hesitate to make the effort. He didn't make her chase after him. He made sure she knew he was interested, but in a way that felt authentic and natural. They built a relationship based on mutual effort, respect and appreciation. The difference: he came to her because he saw something special in her. He wasn't intimidated by her confidence. He didn't feel threatened by her independence. He wanted to be a part of her life, not to complete it but to add to it. Now let me ask you this. When you look at your relationships, do you feel like you're the one doing all the work? Are you constantly chasing after someone who isn't putting in the same effort as you? The truth is, if you have to convince someone to be with you, if you're always the one reaching out first, if you're always putting in the energy to keep things alive, you're not in the right relationship. The right man will pursue you because he will recognize your value, and he will want to invest in you. He won't make you chase after him. He won't make you wonder where you stand. He will make his intentions clear, and he will show you consistently that you are worth the effort. Let's take this a step further. We've all heard the saying, when you stop looking for love, it finds you. This is one of those truths that can be hard to grasp, especially when you feel like you've been searching for love for what seems like forever. But there's something about focusing on yourself, investing in your own life, and letting go of the desperation that allows the right person to step into your life naturally. It's not about sitting back and waiting for someone to find you. It's about living your life fully, confidently and passionately. When you do this, you naturally attract people who are aligned with your energy. And the right man will be drawn to you because he will see that you are already whole and complete on your own. Think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you've met someone who was so secure in themselves, so confident and self-sufficient, that you couldn't help but be drawn to them? That's the energy you want to radiate. When you're focused on your own growth, your own happiness, and your own passions, you become magnetic. You're no longer chasing love. You're living your life in such a way that love has no choice but to come to you. And when the right man comes into your life, it will feel different. It won't feel like you're working hard to make it work. It won't feel like you're always wondering where things stand. It will feel natural. He will pursue you because he will want. He will show you that you are worth the effort. And in return, you will be willing to meet him halfway. You will invest in the relationship, not out of desperation or need, but because you believe in the connection, and you believe in the potential of what you're building together. Here's the thing about relationships. The right person won't require you to chase them. They will meet you halfway. They will pursue you not because they feel obligated, but because they're genuinely interested in building something real with you. The right man will not make you question your worth. He will not make you doubt whether you're enough. He will show you through his actions that he values you and that he is willing to put in the effort to build something meaningful together. You deserve a man who sees your worth from the very beginning, who is not afraid to pursue you and who is willing to meet you at the same level of commitment, respect and love. You don't need to chase. You just need to be the woman who knows her worth, who values herself, and who isn't afraid to let the right man come to her. When you embody this energy, you will naturally attract the person who is meant to walk beside you, not in front of you, not behind you, but beside you, because the right man will pursue you not because he has to, but because he wants to. So remember this, the right man will pursue you, but you have to be willing to let him. You have to trust in yourself enough to know that you don't have to chase after love. Love will find you when you stop searching for it in all the wrong places, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, and when you start living your life fully and fearlessly. You deserve someone who values you, who sees your worth, and wants to invest in you. You are not here to beg for attention, to fight for affection, or to prove your worthiness. You are here to shine, to grow, to live your truth. And when you do that, the right person will see you. So stop chasing, start living. Let the right man pursue you. And in doing so, you'll discover a love that is built on respect, admiration, and shared growth. That's the kind of love that lasts. That's the kind of love